Hello, it's Bailey and I'm going to be doing another spinner wheel video. This one is going to be for just my owned TBR. I just posted one last week that was my unfinished series, so I was continuing with some series. This time we are trying to get through some of the books that I currently own. I have been cleaning all morning. My mom came over. Hopefully you can't hear my dishwasher running actually, but that's what we're working with. But I did want to sit down and start reading before I get in the shower, get ready for the day. So I want to do my first spin for this video. So I'm gonna start my screen recording and show you the wheel that I have for this and get my first pick. All right, I scooted over so I can put the wheel here, but I'm gonna go ahead and spin it now. And there's a lot of like really random options on here. I own some random stuff, so we'll see. If it's also a series, that would be good. Oh, okay, so I got Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I think I gave that like a 4.5 star, and I also read After I Do, which was one of my favorites of last year, even though I did only give it 4 stars. But I'm really excited to try another book by her, so that's a good one to get off my list right away and sounds like a good read today. Like, I feel like I'm in the mood to read something like that. Hello and welcome to Sunday. I did sit down yesterday and read a little bit of Daisy Jones and the Six. I'm about 75 pages in so far and I'm enjoying it a lot, but unfortunately I have other books I'm trying to get through this weekend outside of this video, specifically my book club pick and then just a couple other things. I say unfortunately because I think this is actually something that is very like binge worthy, something I think I could get through very fast because it is written in like a interview style, like you're getting people's responses like they're getting interviewed and talking about the past when the band was like forming. I'm at where the band was forming and it's getting more like as the band was progressing. But if you don't know, this is basically about Daisy Jones and the Six, which is a band, like a fictional band. It's in this book, it's not real. It feels very real while you're reading it, but this band that is forming like in the 70s, and it's very rock and roll, drugs, like there's stuff going on, but just the format it's written in is really interesting. And I think once I do have time to sit down and just like get through it, that it's gonna go very fast and I'm gonna enjoy it a lot. So I guess I'll just update today if I get through quite a bit more. I may not, so you might not hear from me for a little while, I guess. I did end up prioritizing this today, so I'm just at like the 200 page mark. It's like a 350-ish page book, and I'm really loving this. It feels like a book that's so immersive, and the characters are so interesting, and I'm just like loving seeing everyone's interactions and seeing them as they like get older and stuff. But I don't see like a direct plot line. Like, I have no idea where this is going or like what the ending's gonna give, so I think I have some anticipation of like what's gonna happen to all these people and the band and just everything. So if I can stay focused today, I should be able to maybe finish it, even though this morning I was like, I'm not gonna get to this anytime soon. I won't update for a little while. I am actually getting there. I'm getting pretty close. It's now Thursday. Love that. But I was just able tonight finally to sit down and finish the last little bit of Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and this was an easy 5 stars for me, and I'm ready to declare Taylor Jenkins Reid is like one of my all-time favorite authors. I don't really know how to talk about the plot of this book, and I think it is much more just like the vibe of this book. I do want to say like content warnings for sure for drug use and abortion in this book. They are like heavily talked about. I think especially the drug use, with just the themes of this being like a 70s 80s rock band. But yeah, I really love the format. I had a good time throughout. It is like this is not a fun book. It's a very like melancholy, but I loved that we were getting so many perspectives and you're getting so many people telling this story, and you're rooting for certain things for characters that you know are gonna hurt other characters that you're also rooting for, and it's just like this intertwined thing of like you don't know what to hope for or what to be happy about, or yeah, I don't know how else to describe it, but I just had a really good time the whole time throughout, and the ending did not disappoint. But now I have my iPad again and I'm going to start my screen recording. First things first, don't want to forget that. and spin again. This makes me really nervous. Like I said the last time, I got really lucky this first time, but there's a lot of like random stuff on this list. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up. Here's the wheel again. I didn't delete anything, so there's a chance I could get something I've read this month or get that book again, but there's so much here that I think it's probably pretty unlikely. But here I go. The New Husband. Okay, that's one that I picked up because I thought when I was trying to predict what was going to be on the Goodreads Choice Awards for like the most popular thrillers of 2020, I picked this book up. It didn't end up being on the list, but this was like heavily read throughout the year of 2020. So I know it's a thriller, but I honestly have no idea what it's about. I'm gonna go grab it and then read the synopsis and tell you what I think. It is The New Husband by DJ Palmer. Again, I said I know nothing about this. This is probably something I never should have bought because it's still like not sounding that interesting to me, but I'm gonna give it a try at least. It does sound like this woman basically finds out that her husband is having an affair, but then he dies before she can confront him. And then she like starts a relationship with a new person after a little while, and that person's being like kind of weird. So not sure. We're going to see with this one. I think it's funny that I was so like unexcited for this book. Also the foiling's like pink, which I love. But I was so unexcited for this, but now I'm like 85 pages into it and I'm actually really enjoying it. It does follow basically this woman's husband went missing. His boat was found like all bloody with the dog on the boat, and so it was assumed that he drowned. They searched the lake, they've searched for him. He was never found, but the boat was found, and quickly she like moved on and is now dating somebody new, which is actually like a middle school teacher, and she has a daughter that's in middle school. And we're unexpectedly, I didn't know this, getting also the daughter's perspective in some parts, and it's all just like very weird. Like it's definitely one where you're considering, is her previous husband like actually dead? Is he just missing? Like what's going on there? And then this new guy she's dating, like they're not married, but I'm assuming that's gonna be a thing. It's called The New Husband. Like he's just kind of weird. He is very controlling of her and he makes her kids kind of uncomfortable, and it's just a very weird thing going on, but I'm definitely in the story and enjoying it a lot so far. I am steadily getting through The New Husband and I'm still really enjoying it. It is just like the tension's building now. I'm about halfway at this point, but I did decide I'm gonna do my final spin for this video. I realized I'm not going to be buying any more books and nothing else on my wheel is going to change, so I might as well do it so that if I tonight or early tomorrow morning can get to my next book, I at least have it picked. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so I have my screen recording. I need to go to my own TBR spinner and here we go. This makes me so nervous. One good deed. Oh, I know what that is. Okay. 1 second. At first I was like, what is One Good Deed? But then I remembered that it is this David Baldassi book, and I'm not actually sure what this exactly follows, but I read his Will Robbie series, I think that's what it's called, and I actually really liked it, surprisingly, and so I decided I wanted to try something else by him, and I think this is one of his newer releases, so I'll let you know what this is once I start reading this as well. But I'm not mad about this pick. There's some of these that aren't like in the forefront of my mind that I still need to really get to anyway, especially if I want my TBR to be down to 10. I need to get to almost everything I own, so to have something that I was like, what is that book, for a second, it's probably good that I spun and got this. So we all remember how unexcited I was when I spun to get The New Husband. I just finished it and I ended up giving it 5 stars. So I want to talk about it for a second now, and I think this is something that is like way underhyped in my opinion. Like I mentioned, I picked this up anticipating off of some list I had looked at that this would be like nominated for like best thriller of last year, and it wasn't, but it should have been. I think simply the flaws in this book throughout, like there were things that I was thinking about mentioning that I really didn't like, but something happens in the last chapter that kind of explains why it's written that way, that I was like, yes, like completely forgiven basically. And I think a lot of people would have the same reaction to that. And it was nothing in terms of my enjoyment or like plot lines or anything. It was more to do with certain like characterization. And I also just want to say that like the climax of this book is the first time I've been like legitimately scared in a while by a thriller. So yeah, I also think this would be a great place to start with thrillers because the writing is very accessible. It's written in a way that I like, that it's not very flowery, it's to the point, but it also felt very modern. Like they mention a lot of technology and just stuff that is like current, that makes it seem just so approachable. Like they were talking about rental houses at some point, and like they were talking about Airbnb and VRBO, like stuff like that. And there was another one that I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was another thing where I was just like, you can tell that this is a newer book. So yeah, I ended up really enjoying it. It was like the bottom of my 5-star rating, but yeah, I think this is gonna be something that probably won't make it onto my favorites of the year, but I feel confident giving it the 5 stars. I just reached the halfway point of One Good Deed by David Baldassi, and just to kind of summarize what this book is about, it is set in 1949, and a war veteran basically just got done serving time in prison. I'm not exactly sure what he was serving time for. I'm sure it's been talked about, I just don't remember. It wasn't like a major crime, he didn't kill anybody, but I'm not remembering what the crime was. And so he gets released from prison and he goes to this like small town and gets hired to basically collect a debt. So this like wealthy man hires him to go get repayment for a debt that is owed to him. But he quickly finds out that there's like some weird stuff going on with this debt, and then the man who hired him actually gets murdered. And so going from there, it kind of becomes a like detective story. Our main character Archer is kind of getting framed for that, but he is also like in close relation with the cop that is investigating. So it's getting interesting now in terms of like the investigation, but sadly I do think I'm gonna DNF this, and I'm gonna say why. I am interested in like the case that's going on, the mystery aspect of this, but just the storyline in general, the way this is historical but almost too accurate for me, if that makes sense. You can tell this is written by a man and it is very sexist, but our main character is the one who, like, anytime something is said or done towards women, he's like, but I would never do that. And I don't know, I just don't know about it. I'm not enjoying that for sure. Like, even in the synopsis of this book, what his parole officer like rules are is don't go to bars, certainly don't drink alcohol, do get a job, and don't ever associate with loose women. So I feel like that kind of gives the vibe of what this even is. I still really do enjoy David Baldassi's writing style, and like I said, I'm interested in the mystery, but I just think the premise of this one is not for me. I do think I would give him one more try, considering I already enjoyed a whole series by him, and just this one is rubbing me the wrong way. I probably would try another series or book again. I don't know. This one's just really disappointing me right now, and I'm fine just looking up a spoiler at this point. So I'm pretty sure I DNF'd a book in both of my spinner wheel videos this month, but that's fine. I'm getting through my books regardless, and I gave both of them like to the 50% mark. I'm probably close to 60% of the way through that one, so I feel like that's a fair shot for sure. But I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again very soon. Goodbye.